All right. We're just going to go with it. So, again, technological issues. How many of you out there are like me and become frustrated with your tech gadgets, whether it be your laptop, your phone, tablet, whatever? It seems like there's always an update. It's a good thing that, unlike Teslas or other things like that, like we don't get charged per update. Because I swear to you, and I have two laptops. Every time I turn both of them on, nearly every time, there's a software update or some other update that's required. And if I don't do it, it's like, just, it's super glitchy and I don't get it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, welcome back to the Bees Like That podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris. Today, I want to follow up briefly on a Facebook post regarding gratitude. Now, this isn't groundbreaking. I've talked about gratitude numerous times on the podcast before, and I will continue to talk about gratitude and other things that help me in my daily life to continue to recover from substance use disorders and stay rooted in spiritual principles and have a life so rich and fulfilling that it's almost difficult to measure. In some ways, it is difficult to measure. And like I said on Facebook, this isn't like I haven't had my typical sense of gratitude, which is relatively, it's moderate. Like I feel grateful every day. It's a practice that I do. But lately I've been extremely grateful. And it's as I sit around and I observe my environment, my life, and I just look at things for what they are. And acknowledging really that like 6 years ago, I could have had all of this stuff going on around me, all of this beauty, all this joy, all these blessings happening around me every moment of every day, comparatively. And missed most, if not all of it, because I was so consumed with my solution and getting or staying loaded. It's a terrible way to live. And I think about my human brothers and sisters who are trapped still in their solution, feeling like there's no way out. And they may look at me today, someone who seems relatively well-adjusted and healing and recovering and all of the things, right? And might misunderstand that I, too, at one time, as I so often share, was terribly desperate. I mean, when I tell this part of my story and I gauge people's reaction to it, I sometimes feel like they think that I might be making things up. Because when I say that I stayed so drunk, like my maintenance would probably kill a lot of people that you know. Even a couple of the ones that like you think drink a lot. I couldn't go more than an hour without having something to drink. Like I would have to wake up multiple times during the night when I went to bed and take a few shots just so I could stay asleep. Like when y'all get up and go to the bathroom at night, fellas, I would do the same thing, but at the same time, take a shot or two just so I could go back and lay down and go to bed and continue to sleep. It was wild. And I enjoyed nothing. Everything to me was miserable. I was miserable and discontent every moment of every day. Rarely was there a time where I was happy. You could find me probably just like super high and drunk as hell, like towards the end of the day, like 1 or towards the end of the day at 1 at night or in the morning. And just goofy, right? Like, but that wasn't happiness. That was just the point that I had to be at. I'd progressed so far in my progressive disease, that it would take me until 1 a.m. to get to a point where I didn't feel like eating a bullet every 5 minutes. I didn't feel like fighting every 5 minutes. I wasn't just on some straight weirdo shit. And I don't mean weirdo shit, but I mean just a mess. And I look around today, like I say, and my daughter just had her 11th birthday. We went skating on Friday night, starting at 7, which is close to the time that I usually, like, I'm ready to go to bed around that time. But on this day, that wasn't the case because we had a celebration to do. So we went, had a few of her friends, had some pizza, some cake. I didn't have any pizza and cake. Oh, man, I wanted to, though. But y'all know I'm in prep, so I'm dieting right now. But her friend, all the girls had a blast. My youngest had a blast, which was cool to watch. Saturday, she had a soccer tournament. I was able to be present for all of that. One of my other kids needed something from me or needed me, and I was able to be present for that. Sunday, I had more family come over and celebrate my 11-year-old, and I was able to be present for that. Now, this seems to some like no big deal, right? Like, because y'all, more or less in your lives, are able to be present and haven't missed many of these things. And even if you drink, you're still there, and you're not like I was. Maybe you aren't like I was. But I'm telling you, from my story and the way that addiction manifested in my life, I wasn't present for anything. When people say I stop adulting, I stopped lifing, period. The only thing I cared about when getting loaded, bro, like, I didn't care about the relationship. I didn't care about sex. I didn't care about... The only reason I cared about money is because it would secure my solution and keep me well. Work. Right. Right. Some people can do that. I'm not one of them. I'm all in, man. I'm not doing anything but what I want to do when I want to do it. And not just physically present for these things, but I'm also able to be emotionally present. And I didn't say perfect. I said present. And like my youngest, for instance, her entire life so far has only known this version of me. She's never going to know, God willing, the version of me that was so sick and tortured for so long. That's a pretty cool feeling. And when I looked around at all these things and just taking them in and appreciating the benefit and the value that it adds to my life, and how easily any of us, and seemingly eagerly, like I said on Facebook, can step over these things in the hustle and bustle and fuss about different things under the larger umbrella of life and the things that should be more important to us. If anything that I've learned, that's one of the top things that's added tremendous value to my life. And my wife hates when I say this because, one, it's true, and it's hard for some people. But to quiet your mind enough to still the thoughts that might be racing and just slow your life down. At least your internal life, right? Like your thoughts and your energy and your anxiety, the best as we can. Slow this shit down. However it works for you. Hard training and rest work really well for me. And when I mean rest, I don't mean just like sleep, but, just sit or just lay or just don't do anything in whatever posture or position works better for you, but just be in yourself without having to physically engage your body in something to distract your mind from whatever it is that it is obsessing over or making you anxious about. It's not easy to do, but it's worth it. And it helps me, as I say, to magnify and really appreciate the blessings that I do have in my life, with my marriage and my kids and the sport of bodybuilding and the industry of fitness. And it also has given me time and opportunity to really notice, understand, and focus in on the gifts that I do have, whether that be speaking to people, sharing insights, or sharing my experience, strength, and hope in recovery, or with other people who are currently or have been impacted by the child welfare system, poverty, whatever. That pace, the slower pace, allows me to appreciate, understand, and really utilize my tools and talents, and really be present and feel that gratitude. And I mean like on a spiritual level. I don't mean just like, oh dang, thanks man, that's hella cool. Like, nah. I mean like really letting it sink in. Because we have so many blessings that abound within us. It's just, it sucks and is sad and disappointing to see so much of that become lost. Just in noise. Just in noise. That in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years isn't going to matter. But anyway, happy Tuesday, y'all. And if you didn't do it on the way in, please think about doing it on the way out. Hit that like, subscribe, and post notification bell so you can stay up to date on everything we talk about here on the Bees Like That podcast. Peace, y'all.